All right, good morning, gang. Happy Tuesday. There we go. To you. How's everyone doing? Let me know if you can see my voice, hear my screen. If so, we'll get started. Yes, 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 yes. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Tier 1 members, welcome back to the live trading room. If you guys are joining us on YouTube or Trading View, welcome to the Trade of the Day live stream. What we do here is I live stream the first pair that we take a look at in our live trading room. That way you guys can see, that way you guys can engage, ask questions, and get a sense of how we trade, how we teach here at Tier 1 Trading, as well as get a sense of what it looks like to be a professional trader. So thank you guys for joining. We always want to start off with my trade of the day, but today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to start off with my dad moment of the day. So if you are a parent, you know that you typically find random things in random places at random times. And today's random thing was an old cup of milk that was left in my office from who knows when. And long story short, it is not milk anymore. I tried to move it and it was not liquid. So, dun da da, parenting moment of the day. So we're going to start on the dollar index today. First of all, for you guys, thank you for you guys that joined the Q&A yesterday. I did get an email back from Jason. He was the trader whose homework that we looked at, or action items that we looked at. He was very happy with what we did. He found the Q&A to be very insightful, gave him some tips and stuff to work on. His kids are also a fan of Is It Cake. So he wanted me to tell you guys, thank you so much for the feedback. And he is not trading. He wanted to let you know that, Orsi, he is not trading, just visualizing the process, kind of walking through as if he were trading. So he wanted me to say that to you guys. So I appreciate it. Good work. It was a fun session yesterday, a little bit different than what we usually do, but fun. All right. So today, trade of the day, we are going to go over to the Dixie, the dollar index, really quick, just as far as a kind of an economic perspective goes. We are on a non-farms week. So we do have a non-farm payroll coming out this Friday, which means that on Wednesday, we're going to have our precursor ADP jobs number come out. On Thursday, we're going to have unemployment claims come out. So just keep that on your radar as we head into Friday. It's also a very interesting week because it is the end of the month and not the end of a quarter. January, February, March. Yeah, end of the month and end of a quarter. So there's always some funny business that happens as kind of balance sheets like to get balanced at the end of quarters so that they can kind of give nice numbers and stuff like that. You see that at the end of the year as well. Things get weird into December because April Fool's Day as well. And it's April Fool's Day. Yeah, you're correct. So let's talk about the Dixie, the dollar index. We'll start here. We've got one of my favorite patterns, perhaps my favorite simple pattern in the market forming here. But before we dig into that, we want to look at the lay of the land. So we go through a process here at Tier 1 Trading called IPDE, identify, predict, decide, execute. Traders, tell me, identify where is price action, or where would you say price action is currently trading at? What would you say? Something that I like to do if you're not following along here. Oops, sorry. I don't know if you guys can hear me. I might have muted myself. Something I like to do if you guys aren't following along here is I like to take my horizontal tool, or I just use my crosshairs. That's why I like having my crosshairs on my chart here. I like to take my horizontal tool. I like to put it at price action. And that typically gives me a really good idea of where I'm trading at. So what would you guys say as far as where is price currently at? Are we below structure? Are we above structure? Are we in the middle of structure? Talk to me. It looks like the YouTube is having an issue with the live stream again. I don't know why, but sorry, YouTube. Yep, we are basically right in the middle of structure, right? If we look left, structure leaves clues. We have this nice little wedge pattern, this triangle pattern, and we are probably right at the 50% level. We are right in the middle. And we want to ask ourselves these questions because we always want to anticipate, is this just a cool looking opportunity on the chart, or is this an actual tradable opportunity? And as far as tradable opportunities go, we know that we need room for the market to move. Again, there's no point in placing a buy order if there's no room for the market to go up. There's no point in placing a sell order if there's no room for the market to go down. So not only do we need to see our signal or our setup, but we also need to make sure that there is room for the market to go wherever it needs to go to in order for us to make profit. And in this situation, there is, right? It's not the greatest situation. My personal preference is that we have these type of consolidation and breakout patterns above structure, because structure is the backbone of my philosophy, all that fun stuff. But this one is not at the top, so there is room for us to go higher. There is the opportunity that we can test the tops of those range. So I would put it as not a great opportunity, not a bad opportunity, but an opportunity. So we get that from looking at the bigger lay of the land here. Something we can do as well if we want. While we're on here, we can use our little volume tool if I can pull it correctly. If you don't give me the sticky mouse, there we go. And kind of see if there's any clues of key levels. I don't know what's happening here. Oh, $1 next. Sorry about that. Let's go down to the actual pattern here. So let's go down to, or zoom in to what we have on the daily. And this is another interesting situation as well, because if I were to rewind time just a little bit and put price action right here, what would you say that you'd be looking at? You'd be looking at this as a double top. Now, whether it's a double top that you're interested or not, because of the depth of the retracement and the fact that we came down to structure, that's hit or miss. The fact is it's a double top. And this is a good example of how really setups morph, where you have this double top, and a double top is a selling signal, right? Hey, good job, Auto on Trading View. Yeah, double top. A double top would be a signal for a sell, assuming everything else makes sense. And then as we push on, you're going to see that we retrace from it a little bit. We come down, test the lows. This is a very good sign for this double top. And then we come back up and there we go, test the highs. And I've been having a lot of conversations over the last couple of weeks about kind of things I used to think were true in trading and how experience has taught me other things. And again, one of the biggest things that I used to believe in, because I was told this and I had no other reason not to believe in it, was that the more times a level of structure is hit, the more powerful that level of structure is. And I don't know if you guys ever thought the same thing or do think the same thing, but that's not necessarily true. It certainly depends on how it's hit. But as I started looking at trading from a little bit of a different perspective, and or says Georgia taught the same thing, yeah, and it's it could be one of those things, Orsi, where it's not necessarily a lie. Where like historically, if I look back and a year ago this level of structure was hit, and then 2 years ago this level of structure was hit, then 4 years ago that level of structure is hit, that can be price action hitting a previous level of structure and showing that it's important. Same thing when we get like structure swaps, right? Structure swaps are ice zones where support becomes resistance, then becomes support again, then becomes resistance. That's tested over years and decades, right? Those are really important levels. So it's not necessarily that the saying is wrong, but like anything, it's probably gotten morphed over time, right? It's like that game. I think you guys call it something else overseas, but we call it Whisper Down the Lane, where you have like 10 people standing in line, and one person starts with a saying that says, "Hey, the monkey's head is purple," and then that person whispers it to the next person, and by the time it gets down to the end, it's like the crumbled bread is thurple, right? Broken telephone, yeah. So the message is kind of morphed by the end. And I would bet the same thing has happened in trading, where someone teaches the right moment where, or the right type of way, where it's like, hey, historical structure swaps, all that fun stuff. The more times we test this level, it's broken. And that gets translated into just, oh, well, the more times it tests structure is broken. And then before you know it, people are looking at a completely different thing. So I don't necessarily blame like the educators out there. I'm sure a lot of the stuff that I teach, where people hop into a live stream or a live workshop and they hear it for like a day but don't really understand it, I'm sure that gets all weird as well. But the point is that when you're looking at moves in close proximity, right? We shouldn't, if there is a strong reason to sell, we should not be hovering at this level for that long. And if we are hovering at that level for long, at least there should be signs of bearish action. So we need those two things. In this situation, right, if the selling pressure was, if there was a massive amount of selling pressure, we would never get the double top, right? It would be a V top, right? Something kind of like you see right here, where it would be just up, ooh, selling interest, bang, right back down, right? After the V top, as we come down to test these lows, if there was a massive amount of selling pressure, we'd violate these lows and push through. If there was still selling pressure, we may push up and do something like this, but we may not be able to survive, right? As we push on, we see that the market puts in this formation and it gets a little smoother as we go down to the 4 hour, where we actually start to think the opposite, right? Where price action pushes up and then we retrace and then we retest, right? And then we retrace, right? We don't make lower lows. We test these same lows right here. Then the market comes back up again, right? And you can see the steady kind of ebb and flow, where we're essentially holding the same highs, but our lows are getting higher and higher and higher. And following up on this weekend's Trading Edge video, right? Just reading a price chart, reading the story that price is telling us. If we're refusing to make lower lows, who do you think's in control of the market? Where do you think the pressure's at? Is it with the buyers or the sellers? Who's kind of controlling the field right here? The buyers, right? They are forbidding, at least at this point, the sellers from pushing it any lower. And it's only a matter of time before the sellers get exhausted. They realize they're in a fight that they can't win and they just give up, right? So we see this play out in a few different ways in the market. In this particular opportunity, this is going to be called an ascending triangle pattern, right? And our anticipation of this, or our anticipation of what will happen after this ascending triangle, is a breakout to the upside. Now, what's interesting here is that, well, there are multiple ways to get involved in breakout trades. There's before, during, after. Before is setting yourself up prior to the break, so trying to get involved at maybe a retest of a trend line or a low. During is like an aggressive sell, in this case, buy stop. So you're getting involved in the trade while it's breaking out, and after is waiting for the confirmed breakout and the retest. If you're someone that is looking to set themselves up before the trade, where do you think is a good place to start looking? Where would you expect the next hold to be if your prediction on what this pattern is going to be and what it is ultimately correct? You would probably expect price to hold this level right here. So if you are someone that is aggressive, you may have to drop down one more time frame. As price action retraces to this level, this is where you should start looking for your buying reasons. And you can put yourself in a pretty decent position, right? We don't know where the buy is going to be. It depends on your reason. But let's say you get involved right here. You have a situation, right? We looked at this with the euro pound last week. You have a situation, or not the euro pound, what was it, the DAX, right? This bad boy right here, right? A little bit of a different pattern, but same type of concept. But you have a situation where you can position yourself for a buying opportunity, right? You can have tight stops, right? Because if we go beyond this area, your initial prediction is wrong. And again, your anticipation is that not only will we come up and retest the highs here, which gives you a quality risk reward, but we're likely to break out beyond that to that next level of structure. So that's one way to look at it. If you're more conservative, this just adds to your reason for entry, right? So wait to see if we get a hold. If we do get that hold and we push up here, now that's even more proof that, hey, we may be seeing this bullish breakout, and you can prepare yourself for maybe the next retracement. You can you can prepare yourself for maybe a tight consolidation. I love when we get like a high and tight flag at the top of range. That's kind of the last straw that things are about to pop. Or, of course, you can prepare yourself for the breakout and the retest for the move higher. So pretty decent situation here on the Dixie, the dollar index ascending triangle. My favorite pattern to trade. This is my favorite simple pattern to trade. Any questions? We can dig down to the hourly. YouTube's not working, so I can't see any questions on there. I don't know why it's not working. I'm sure it will come up later. But any questions for you guys in the live room so far? Any questions on TradingView before I shut down the live stream and we resume tomorrow for you guys? Sorry, YouTube. I don't know why it's been acting up lately, but it's not doing the live stream.